as we go live, yeah, so just wanted to cover all these very quick aspects, especially if you're new. If you're new to the webinar, this is our weekly webinar where every Monday Asian time, 10:30 a.m. Singapore time, or 10:30 p.m. 10:30 p.m. for EST, right? And then, especially those in Europe, unfortunately, we would love to be able to cater a time zone for you all. Probably in the next month or so, we will probably try to do something for the European markets as well. But yes, because it's a 12-hour difference, it's kind of easier for us to cater to the US markets rather than European markets. Because if we do the Europe timing, it will be right smack in the middle of the day, guys, especially for us. So that will be around 3 p.m. Singapore time, and then it will be 9 a.m. for most parts of Europe. So we'll try to work something out, okay? Because I think we love, people from Europe as well. I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of Europe, right? Especially Italy, France, all the very, very lovely, nice countries, and also Eastern Europe. Eventually, I would like to also travel there and have some fun there as well. But for now, I think right now we want to cover the cryptocurrency markets. Yeah. So without further ado, Andy, please take it away.
Okay, hey guys. Wait. Testing. Okay. Let me just go to the news. Okay, so all right, so I have quite a fair bit of news to cover today, and they are mainly for the economics, like mainly for the market, the main market, and also for the crypto market. And for the crypto market, I'll be covering a few segments today, and I think moving forward, I'll be covering in this order. So what I will cover is about Bitcoin, mainly news on Bitcoin, and then I'll talk about adoption. I'll talk about what's happening in the market in businesses connecting with the blockchain, like IBM, Apple, things like that. I will then cover about altcoins, what are some of the famous altcoins movement or what is happening, and then last of all, I'll cover about gossip news, right? What is hot and what is pretty lame, right? All the lame parts, just for fun part, will be at the end. Okay, so this will be the order for now. All right, so let's talk about the currencies first. So yen basically, wait, is your mic?
Oh yeah, sorry.
So no echo. Okay. So anyway, so yen ticks up, Canadian dollar dips after G7 trade. Okay. So anyway, we all know that the G7 didn't really turn out very well. With that infamous picture of Mr. Trump sitting on a chair with folded arms, and then Merkel was looking at him, and then Shinzo was just standing there folding up with arms folded as well. So it's not very, very good news. All right. But with that said, in terms of trading wise, in terms of free trade for market trades and everything, I think Mr. Trump is not going to be approving certain things for G7. So I actually have the breakdown for it later as well. So yen actually ticks up. Remember, yen and like Swiss franc are the safe haven, right? In terms of forex, in terms of currencies, and so therefore there's always a trend that it will go up in that sense. Okay. Another good news about Eurozone is that Italy will not be leaving the euro. It's kind of, like I say, it was kind of impossible for Italy to move out. They don't even have their own currency to begin with. It was easier for the UK side to move out because they already had pounds. So it's actually a lot easier for them, right? Because for Italy to move out, he has to create a new currency, and the new currency has to populate around in Italy itself, and it has to be recognized. So it's very, very difficult. There's a lot of challenge just for everyone to accept a new currency, right? It's just like how adoption is slow for Bitcoin. It's the same logic. Now imagine you're changing a currency that you've been using for the last 200, 300 years. This is tough, right? So that's why it's kind of very difficult for Italy to move out of Eurozone, even though they want to, okay? So they have to continue paying all the reparations and support the Eurozone, okay? Now, the other thing is about economic calendar. I think this is a very, very good summary of what's happening for this week. As you all know, for the US citizen, your president is in our country right now, and Mr. Kim as well. So Mr. Kim Jong-un and Mr. Trump, President Donald Trump, will also be talking in Singapore. That will be tomorrow. So I think the whole world, I think if I'm not wrong in terms of figures, I think about 300 to about 2,000, I can't remember, of reporters are in Singapore from various news sources all around the world. They're all in Singapore to cover the news. And this event on its own cost the country for us about 20 million, I think. And half of it is spent on security. So you can imagine just how Singapore, is taking ownership of it. And I have no idea why Singapore is paying for it, to be honest. Yeah. And I think some of the Singaporeans will be wondering as well. Okay, anyway, so global trade tension and geopolitics could hang over the market in the coming week. Investors access the fallout from the contentious Group of Seven summit held in Canada over the weekend, at which President Donald Trump threatened to stop trading with countries that do not reduce barriers to American exports. So to summarize what this phrase actually meant, it's that in terms of export, it means that if America would export certain products, they want a lower rate in terms of trade tariffs, okay, on their products. So let's say America, US, I export certain cable or wire or whatever, and it reaches Canada, for instance. I would want less tariff on my products entering the market. Okay, so it actually boosts the GDP in the long run, or the GNP, and which is the gross national product, right? And overall, you'll move your aggregate demand. Okay, this is going into economics, but overall, it actually boosts fiscal, and it boosts exchange rate policy. It's an exchange rate policy on its own, right? And it's X minus M. So part of that actually brings in a fiscal reward in that sense for the country, right? So it's a very very good plan, honestly. But then again, America actually Mr. Trump actually put a lot of protectionism on the economy as well. So therefore, import tariffs goes up. So he's a businessman, right? So the logic that he thinks it's quite, he's stubborn enough to stick on to G7 pressure. So I kind of respect him for that. Anyway, the Fed Reserve is widely expected to announce an interest rate hike. And investors will be watching signals from the US Central Bank for its plan. And also markets are eyeing on Europe amidst a widespread of ECB could signal intention to start unwinding its massive bond purchasing. So this will actually cause the euro to dip a bit. And also, okay, this one nothing much. Brexit, okay, nothing much. Okay, so the fallout from G7 meeting. There's a trade rhetoric to keep investors on the toes after Mr. Trump refused to endorse the G7 declaration, calling for a reduction of tariffs. And so this is one of the bigger things that's turned out. Okay, so anyway, he's a master in Twitter. So anyway, the US will not allow other countries to impose massive tariffs and trade barriers on its farmers, workers, and companies, while sending their product into our country tax-free. Oh, my bad. Okay. And that's long enough. So anyway, there's gonna be a lot of ranting here. I'm not gonna say, but anyway, the US last week imposed a 25% tariffs on steel, 10% on tariffs on aluminium imported from EU, Canada, and Mexico. So this actually will impact the economy in the long run, right? So I think these regions here are starting to feel the pinch. Okay, it's actually not a good thing to do to your neighbors, honestly. Okay, anyway, however, the bigger question is whether the US can resolve trade dispute with China. Okay, so this is really the ultimate end game here, right? These regions are nothing as compared to this ultimate end game at China. So anyway, so like I say, this week, especially tomorrow, will be the Trump-Kim summit, and everyone is really looking at it. I think they did a great summary here. They say many experts remain skeptical Kim will ever completely abandon his nuclear programs. They believe his latest engagement is aimed at getting Washington to ease crippling economic sanctions that have squeezed the impoverished country. But when we look at him, I don't think he's impoverished. He looks pretty full. Anyway, for Trump, a successful summit will see him achieve badly needed kudos on the international stage ahead of congressional elections in November. So this is the reason why he has been very, very active in this region. Okay. Anyway, combined with the Trump-Kim summit, we also had the federal rate decision, which is whether the US will be increasing their rates. So this one will be quite interesting to look at. All right. I think I'll be looking at this also. The probability of 4 total rate hikes in 2018 rather than 3 have strengthened recently amid signs of rising inflation and strong economic growth. So the thing is now, I was reading this report over the weekends that actually US has overtaken China in terms of technological and development, okay, and production. So Mr. Trump, I don't know whether he was the main factor of contributing to the US growth, but in the last year at least, we could see how the US Central Bank or the Feds has actually aligned their duties or basically their responsibility with what Trump has predicted. And Trump adopting protectionism, decreasing import tariffs, increasing import tariffs, decreasing export tariffs will have a huge impact on the production, manufacturing, and even sales factors, okay, and PMI basically. So this is actually quite interesting, right? So US has actually overtaken China, not in terms of GDP, but just in terms of technological, not kind of like advancement or in terms of manufacturing production. But the thing is about China is that maybe some of the figures are not declared, right? I just feel like a lot of data from China are not declared, right? It's under declared because they make a lot of money, but they just don't want to declare the actual production. So that actually happens in China a lot. So anyway, so we also have inflation, retail sales, producer prices, industrial production. Okay. So ECB meeting, yeah. So anyway, this one, if you don't really talk about Euro, you don't really know about Eurozone, there's a policy meeting. This one is not really very important, but basically the central bank will reveal more about its plan for exiting aggressive quantitative easing. And for those who don't know what quantitative easing means, it just meant printing more money. Okay, and printing more money so that there'll be more cash flow within the economy, but at the same time it depreciates the value of your dollar, but it kind of also increases expenditure, okay, in that sense, because there's more money to be spent, right? There's more circulation in that sense. It's like like in crypto, right? The total supply, and the circulating supply kind of thing, right? Total supply for money is infinite, but circulating supply is what the central bank controls. Okay. Bank of Japan policy announcements. Okay, this one, if you trade Japan yen, yeah, you want to know. All right. So I think this week is quite an exciting week to look out for. For me, I'll be looking out for all this stuff. Very, very interesting. Okay, so North Korean summit is a risk factor to consider for this week. All right. So trade risks are on the rise again. It's actually very rare for trade risks to rise in the summer. In June, honestly, last year there wasn't even much stuff going on in June. But we will see what's happening. The G7 summit didn't disappoint on the front. Yeah, so it's kind of sad. Next up on Trump's agenda will be auto tariffs, right? So if he implement this, auto tariff means putting a tariff on cars, all right, and steel. So he has already put a tariff on steel. Imagine he put a tariff on auto car, and on continental car. So BMW, Mercedes, big brands, trying to get into US will be taxed as well. So therefore, certain brands in US, for instance, like Tesla, or certain local brands like Ford, Chevrolet, which all US brands would do better, right? And even Japanese car like Toyota, Honda, trying to get into US will be slapped with all these different tariffs as well. So, the policies are just so kind of extreme, to be honest. So ultimately, we see any USD weakness on the heels, okay, blah blah blah. It's a chance to rebuy US dollars. So it is really making the American dollar great again. Okay, so time to get some American dollar. Okay, anyway, all right. So now that we have finished the main economic news, so we're gonna talk about Bitcoin. We're gonna talk about cryptocurrencies per se. So Bitcoin swooned 10% after news of South Korean crypto exchange hack, which is CoinReal. So I think some of you are already aware. I think I got the statistics here. I saw someone posted in our chat just now. I think DC did that. Let me just read it out for you guys. I think it's a very good stats. Okay, so so 40 million from CoinReal was hacked. Okay, and the best part of it is about 50% of it is MPXS token. So 19.5 million worth of MPXS token were hacked. 13.8 million from Ashton X and ICO was hacked. And then 5.8 million in tokens for Dent, another token, I don't know what the hell, and over 1.1 million of Tron. Okay, so people still want to steal Tron, man. Oh my god. Okay, anyway, so 19.5 million of Pundi X worth dollars, of Pundi X tokens was stolen. If I'm not wrong, it was about 80 billion token, if I'm not wrong, or 20 billion, I can't remember. So that amount of token was stolen. Okay, and that actually had an impact on the market. But honestly, a 40 million hack is nothing. I just feel that way, right? And it's a relatively small South Korean exchange. I have no idea why it became such a big thing, and then Bitcoin fell 10%. Like, what the hell? Okay, so I mean, if it's Big Thumb, if it's Binance, if it's Huobi, well, I could understand the market drop. I could really understand, and because it's major volume. But CoinReal is ranked number, I forgot what, 90 in terms of CMC exchange. Yeah, it's not even volume. Volume is not even there. Like 2 million US dollars per day in terms of volume. It's nothing. Okay, so I really don't think this is the main reason why it has dipped. And this is another one. CFTC price manipulation probe. So it was suspected that four major exchanges are being probed by the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. I think this is one of the main reasons why the whole market tanked. For those who understand the news, so I have got the news here. Okay, so these are the main two news which is the Coinbase hack saga. 10% slide in 24 hours, take Bitcoin below $7,000, and Coinbase price hack on price manipulation. And let me see. So this is, so they actually said it here. Then there is the issue of price manipulation. Reports emerged that US state of DOJ and CFTC were collaborating to investigate suspected Bitcoin price manipulation. And the four exchanges these stupid four exchanges that caused the market tanking are Bitstamp, Coinbase, Itbit, and Kraken. So four of the biggest exchanges here are being questioned for Bitcoin's futures manipulation. So congratulations, all right? Because of them, we are thinking here. So all participating exchanges are required to share information, including cooperation with inquiries and investigation. And as we all know, SEC or CFTC and things like that, usually the investigation can take quite a while, honestly. And it's as frustrating as it can get. This will take a while, all right, for you to understand. So anyway, very little possible upside. So it's not particularly happy with investigations, stating late last week that newly declared oversight over the CFTC has what questioning the value of cost of index participation. Okay, Malaysia. So Powell also believes the conversation about market manipulation is overblown. Okay. So if there's any kind of attempted manipulation, whoever is doing it is taking a huge amount of risk for very little possible upside. All right. So I guess it's a good thing that they are investigating them. And neither Bitstamp nor Coinbase commented on the matter. It's kind of sad, right? I mean, they manipulated the market and then we as the retail traders have to, thank it. That sucks. Okay, anyway. So let's talk about some good news on Bitcoin. All right. So all the sad news, let it go. Okay. So let's be happy. So anyway, Apple revises crypto app rules for its store, and it make developers happy. So now, with that being said, all right, revises cryptocurrency apps and recently taken step to appease those in the space. So one of the things that Apple strict rules when it comes to any apps. Okay. So I think we all know that, right? You cannot find a lot of apps on App Store in Apple because they kind of block it or they make a lot of filters. Certain rules and criteria you need to pass. But in Android, it's everywhere. All the stupid apps are on it. So it's a bit like Ethereum that's like Android and like Quantum is like Apple. Huh? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so so anyway, these are just all the news. Okay. So there's nothing much. All right. The next thing is. This is one of the top merger advisors said Bitcoin may replace US dollars as main international currency. Who knows, right? In the future. If you let your mind wander a little bit, that may happen, all right, in the future. Okay, so the top 5 Ethereum dApps by daily active users. Okay, let's talk about adoption here. So number 1 is IDEX. I think some of you should know that IDEX actually takes up about 70 to 80% in terms of DEX volume just on IDEX alone. Okay, if I'm not wrong, that's based on statistics. Fort Delta, Bancor, CryptoKitties, and local Ethereum. These are just some of the 5 dApps that are built or they are on Ethereum. In that sense. Okay, so anyway, Ripple also urges Korean government to ease cryptocurrency regulations. So this is quite interesting. Of course, I'm not a big fan of Ripple, so I shan't comment. So ontology. So I've been talking about ONT the last weekend, yesterday. And like I say, ONT, and I think Bunyodo said something about ONT before also. So VenChain and ONT are doing about the same thing, right? ONT is creating this token called ONG, which is like a gas model, just like Neo and Gas. And Ven is doing kind of like the same thing with VET and Thor, all right? So just saying they are launching their mainnet at the end of this month. So you can just read up on what ONT is trying to do. Okay, so last 3 news for today. Okay, so what's EOS, right? So West Cryptocurrency Rating loves EOS but hates decentralization. So I think some of you already know the circulating supply for EOS is about 20-30% in the market, while 70% is about help by the team, right? So if that is a 4 billion project, imagine the amount that's helped by the team, all right? So and they have a year-long ICO. I really don't understand why they need a year-long ICO, seriously. And so I'm not a big fan of EOS. I'm not a big fan of Ripple. I just hate it. So let's not even cover it. Okay, so this is gossip news, right? So interestingly, sex workers are using crypto to save for retirement. Wow, right? Okay, where's this? A camp girl in Arizona started accepting cryptocurrency as payment for erotic webcam performance 3 years ago. Wow, but usually she would promptly convert it to fiat. Okay, this is funny. Okay, anyway, yeah, so this is happening, guys. And sex workers are using crypto to save for retirement. That's not too bad. At least they're not spending all their money on cosmetics. Okay. And last of all, there's this new manga in Japan. So count on Japan to deliver such weird stuff. Comic book series to spread cryptocurrency awareness, and it's being partially translated into English at the time of writing. And I think this could be one of a good step, to let everyone or the public understand what exactly is crypto about. And it's on weekly basis. Oh my God. So they're gonna talk. So there's a Bitcoin hero and blah blah blah. And I don't know what the hell is this. So anyway, I want everyone to know crypto and its potential. Yeah. So I think it's quite interesting. Okay. Anyway, I'll just hand over the time to Ryan and I'll talk about TA later.
All right, guys. So your mic first.
Yep.
Okay. So. Hello. So, okay, sorry about that. Okay, so right now, as I mentioned, right, the cryptocurrency markets are transitioning to the space is still kind of the same. Okay, as much as the amount of noise that is still in the market, right, I will say that the fundamentals do not change. I'm going to be focusing more on how to determine what makes a successful cryptocurrency or blockchain company. Okay, so right now, what we can see are the very first initial projects were very focused on payment channels or a transfer or focusing on the transfer of value. Whether is it fast or secure. Okay, so either fast or secure, right? It kind of can't really be both. Or even if it's both, it will depend on what kind of security layers are involved. Now, this is the initial phase, right? That was the initial phase, probably 2016 and even until now. So since now we kind of know that being that we are on a peer-to-peer network means that depending on the number of transactions, right, that are being done on the network, it tends to kind of become more expensive as more and more nodes are required to validate a transaction. So that's why there are certain projects at the moment that focus on maybe a fixed number of nodes to validate. Okay, but it will be a randomized way of validating, because if you allow all the nodes to start validating or a number of nodes to validate, right, then naturally your process is slower. Although it's more secure, there's a higher level of confirmation. Okay, so that is one thing. Now, when we transition to the whole Ethereum smart contract protocol space right now, okay, it starts to get a little bit more exciting because that was what was proposed. But however, if you look at what's happening right now, Ethereum is kind of still popular because of the fact that it has so many projects that have been built on it. But in actual fact, which applications are we really using at the moment? I think there are very, very few. In fact, the adoption rate is so poor. So what really makes a successful blockchain platform at the moment? So it's very hard to determine this level of success because the matrix it's not readily available to us. Okay, it's just basically, if you're not the developer team behind it, you can't really track it. Unlike unless you're talking about just purely Google search and all that, that's not enough. You're talking about actually people downloading the app. So I'm looking forward to the next phase, which is eventually when there are smart contract protocol marketplaces. That way we can kind of see, okay, this dApp is, or this smart contract is being created on this particular blockchain, and we can see the number of downloads, and we can kind of track the actual usability. Now, usability and functionality are two different things. Being functional doesn't mean that there can be high user base or adoption. All right. There has to be a level of marketing in between to get the general public to understand that, hey, I have this very useful functional product, but I need your help to share it, or I need to bring it to you in some way, either through a website, a YouTube video, or whatever. Just the marketing involved to get you so that you can use it, right? After you use it, there will be a process where you have to give me feedback on whether my product works or not, whether it serves your purpose. And to be honest, I don't really see that, okay? But can there be layers of integration? Can there be layers of protocols that are created, which we see right now, that are going to be integrated to their existing customer base, where it will be seamless? So we want to kind of identify this, and for you to identify it, that's how you start determining whether this company is successful or not. The next thing is to follow the company's vision and mission. Okay, to understand what's the company's vision and mission. You look at 10x. 10x initially raised a lot of money thinking that they were going to be the debit card of the crypto space. End up, their plans got foiled, right? And now they are like transitioning to some sort of an exchange. You see, end up is the mission and vision kind of a little bit skewed. Kind of, they have to adapt to the new situation, which is okay, nothing wrong. It's just that right now they are not able to kind of really give it to the masses. End up is an exchange, right? So I wouldn't find it very exciting or very, very sexy. So kind of they failed. To me, right now, I think there are very few projects that are moving in the right direction. And right now, enterprise solutions seems to be the key play. Now, there are a few things that are for enterprise solution that we want to focus on. Firstly, enterprise solutions want to focus on infrastructure. What can you offer me at this point of time that I can either automate my business or I can bring down operational costs? That's all. Okay, that's the bottom line that they want to focus on. Also, by doing all that, is this secure? You know, it's very simple when you think about it. I know that a lot of people love looking at the white paper and looking at the broad-based concept, the full utopian thing, all right? But if we keep focusing on, hey, this could be a good concept. Hey, this could be a good concept. Sure. To me, being an open-minded entrepreneur, everything can work. Seriously, everything can possibly work. But however, what is the execution and the time horizon given, okay, for this particular project to actually bear fruit? Also, will it be relevant now, or will it be better that it be relevant later? See, there are a lot of factors and risks that no one gives a shit about. Okay, everyone is talking about. 90% of the YouTube channels are all talking about technical analysis, RSI, OBV, whether this is oversold, whether this is overbought, stuff like that. Very simple. But it's very simple to look at it from that point of view. But when you look at it from a fundamental aspect, you realize, wow, how far behind are we? That if you want to talk about all this right now, right, the whole reason why this whole space is exciting is just that you get to speculate on the early stages of the cryptocurrency market. So this brings me to my point. What will constitute to a successful blockchain company? Right now, it's more of two things. Either you have the enterprise, the conglomerates coming in to look into the project, right? They are willing to invest, research, test with the system involved, right? But they don't want to do that. You see, conglomerates are selfish. They don't want to make other people rich. They want to make themselves rich. Okay, so that aspect, unfortunately, if you say, oh, this company, partnership and whatnot, they're going to buy our tokens. Maybe, maybe not, but I better that you don't bank on it. Okay, I'm a company. Okay, I'm a company. I look at a particular blockchain application product. Say we talk about Komodo, we talk about Van, we talk about Quantum, okay, or Ethereum. I will invest in the team. I will invest a small portion to test out what this platform can do for my company. Okay, so it's a lot of memorandum of understanding. That means for me to partner up with you, you must fulfill my criteria. All right, I'm not going to make you rich. I'm not going to buy a huge bulk of Ethereum, Van, or whatever shit. Okay, no, that's not going to happen. All right, I want to understand what your technology does for my company. Now, on the flip side, what happens is that if you're building as an open source blockchain protocol, a platform, you are getting developers involved. So developers who are curious about what this technology can do, they can start with very little and build on a particular smart contract protocol, and then from there see what they can come up with. From there, you are providing a platform for them to create other than the iOS or the Apple stores and whatnot. This is just another avenue. Now, what is created from all this will take time. We're talking about 5 years, 10 years, okay? And then from then, whatever that comes up, the ICO space was the one that kind of helped everything to boom. Because someone's idea can now kind of be funded through this mass market space. But because of that, it also creates a lot of scams. It creates a lot of ill intentions. So you kind of have to weigh your options when you look at this space. All right. And this is the part where a lot of people, right, they fail to have a proper coin selection process, or they fail to have a proper fundamental analysis, because it takes too long. There's too many perimeters. Which one do I go for? So the fastest way usually is technical analysis, where you see, there's volume. Great. If there's volume, the candles look right, 1 hour, 4 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours, or whatever your time zone, your timeline, and then you enter. But then again, if you're someone who is not a professional trader, right, you're not dedicated to the arts to hone your skills, what happens then? What if you put your money in and it's something that was hot only for last week? And that is what's been happening, That is why 1,634 coins as today, and growing, despite the fact that the market sentiment is so poor, it's still growing because everybody wants to have a chance to get something out of it from this space. And people are starting to, there are always newcomers, especially when the market, you trust me when I say this, when you see the price of Bitcoin now at 6,000, right? This will be kind of like the new price. This will be the new $100. This will be the new $700. Whatever at your price point, this is kind of the new price. So you'll see people start coming back in, and then they'll start venturing out into what they perceive as a successful company. So right now, I'm going to share with you what CG feels, or what I feel that is going to be a successful blockchain company. Firstly, we want to make sure that these companies are they have a strong team. Now, the strong team means that the tech team is consistently putting out articles to help the community understand what the heck they're doing. That's number one. Number one key thing for me. If they don't make it simple enough for me to understand, that means they are not appealing to the mass market. They are appealing to the enterprise. So when it becomes to solely enterprise, unfortunately, nobody has that information. It's only corporate to corporate, B2B. Okay? So those are for people who have insider information, very, very insider information. Unfortunately, not many people have the full insider. So I'd rather not touch those, because it becomes like as if only CG has access to this kind of stuff. Do we occasionally have access to this kind of stuff? Yes, we do. But the problem is we want to give you skills that you can assess. So stick to projects that are very willing to have tech people, especially the dedicated, full-time team tech people, to write blogs, write articles. Okay. Next one, you want to have people who are in tech from outside of the team writing consistently about the project. Okay. When you have people from outside of the space who are developers themselves, who are professionals in the space themselves, writing about a particular project, that's also a very good thing as well, because they understand it from what access they have, and they're willing to write out and share with the community. Second, now that is already starting to step into the adoption phase already, if you think about it. Okay, next, of course, eventually you want to have the corporate side starting to also start to look at it. So unfortunately, corporate side stepping in, it's always a MOU. Also, projects or companies or ICO projects or let's say cryptocurrency listed cryptocurrency companies are not obliged to share any of this information because there's an NDA. NDA is basically, oh man, suddenly I forgot. NDA is basically you cannot announce the kind of non-disclosure agreement. Non-disclosure agreement. So you are not able to disclose any kind of talks while you are having this discussion company to company. After that, once you all are firm, you all have met certain criteria, there's a MOU, all right, and then from there it moves on to an actual contract. So by then, you have this time frame that you kind of want to anticipate whether this project has that kind of value. Okay, there's no tangible numbers that we can work with at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. No proper numbers. Okay, so what we need to do is kind of look at all these things. Follow your favorite project. Okay, follow your favorite project closely. All right, and then from then, you must make sure that you are a master at that particular project, even if you don't understand the space. Okay, I'm not talking about me as someone who has been in the space a while. Put that aside. Understand the concepts of blockchain. Understand the concepts of wealth transfer, peer-to-peer networks. What this all works out to be, and what is that angle? What is that particular project that you always been talking about? You've been in your mind. You've been talking about it. You let other people influence you to a certain extent, and then you decide to put your money in. Understand what that project is doing and how can it really help and solve the problems of this space broad base. You have to think big. You want to make big money? Think big. Okay. From then, this is kind of what can constitute. Now, the next thing, once their product is ready, then comes the marketing. What kind of marketing are they doing? Is it really meant for the consumer? Very few are ready for the consumer. Okay. Usually it's waiting on someone else first, and then after that, just layering that protocol, and then they will actually tap on their existing customer base. So right now, what is ready for the existing customer base? Only value transfer. Okay, wallets. Even the wallets are very primitive if you think about it. They're not as nice or user-friendly compared to the current wallets that we see right now. But can it eventually get there? It can. But give it some time. Right now, if I still have to bloody copy and paste a long string of numbers, I'm sorry, that's a failure. Okay? Because right now, if I want to send money, as in for internet banking, especially if it's based on the FAST system, FAST system is basically our local. I key in that individual's mobile number. I can send already, So I key in that individual's mobile number. As long as that mobile number is linked to his bank account, the money will be sent to him. You see? Simple. Right now, I have to copy and paste this very long string of A, B, C, D, 1, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16. I think it's 16, total 16, right? Total 16 also 32, sorry. This 32 hash, this 32 string of hashes, and then I use it as an address. It is not practical. So for now, I don't see that. Okay, we're still a long way more. So what we want to do is now carve out a portfolio for yourself. Okay, carve out a portfolio for yourself that makes sense. And we want to be very, very focused. So right now, especially when the dip has happened, right, you want to be able to invest confidently into this very small group of cryptocurrencies. You do not care about the other noise that is outside, because the other noise that are outside, especially if they just raise money, my friends, they are nowhere near success. It's like saying that CG raised money yesterday, like just yesterday, for example, we finished. Today we are successful. The reason why we are successful is that we successfully raised money. We were able to convince our investors to invest in us. But the real work starts when we start showing some revenue. Okay? So please, we are very far away. So if you want to speculate on the ones that make the most sense and have the largest database. So if you look at our CG recommendations, Our CG recommendations are already, we already carve out for you already. We already carve out for you what is there. So two things you can do. You can use our perimeters to go and source for new cryptocurrencies that are out there, or you as a busy working individual can just follow our CG recommendations and build a portfolio based on your risk profile. Okay, so right now, with the market pullback, all altcoins are bleeding. BTC is bleeding. Ethereum is bleeding. What do? If you came in with only $10,000, okay, or you are still nowhere near your intended allocation and you feel that, hey, this space makes sense, but now that after Ryan has highlighted, wow, shit, we're still 5 to 10 years away. I better slow it down. That's what you got to do. Like, for example, I saw a little bit of a conversation with Coin King. Don't mind me using your conversation a little bit. Coin King mentioned that he's familiar with his lawn. I mean, he basically, I think he runs his own business, right? So he does lawn mowers and all that. So he knows that when he buys a lawn mower, he can flip it for 20%. He's confident to flip it for 20%. He's familiar. He's familiar that he knows how to do that. He knows that his supplier who supplies him the lawn mower, right, will always be kind enough to give him this kind of price point so that he can flip it to the consumer at 20%. That's a constant. You want to find arbitrages like that. You want to find consistency. It's not about always finding the next damn thing. If you keep thinking about the next damn thing, right, honestly, this space will one day come back and bite your ass. It's just a given, guys. You can go and do it yourself, because I think it's just like me telling you, but no point. You need to experience it for yourself. You need to go out there, go out there and test it out. And then after that, if you feel that my theory will make sense and holds truth, you come back. That's how I would say. So that is a very good example. And the other thing where the conversation was saying, Ryan or Andy invest 50K, 100K per trade. The reason why we invest 50K, 100K per trade, because we know how to flip it in that manner. Also, we give ourselves a very nice timeline to work with. Okay, I emphasize this. We can flip it the way we flip it is because we are very confident about what we do. It's no different from Coin King having his business very familiar that I know that I bring this lawnmower in at this price, I can flip it for 20%. It's all about margins, guys. Every business is about margins. Trading is about profit margins, right? And how much loss are you willing to take? It's the same thing. If he brings in let's say this month, he brings in his lawnmowers, but there's a demand for lawnmowers suddenly across the country. Okay, somehow the grass has been growing faster than usual. I don't know, global warming or what shit. Or maybe some squirrels have been shitting all over the lawn and suddenly the grass grows faster. Everyone starts buying up more lawnmowers. The person who supplies the lawnmowers, unfortunately, will like, oh shit, I better increase my prices because there's more demand. So either Coin King so if he wants to keep his loyal customers, he will probably take a little bit of the blow, right? Say, okay, I'll earn less, maybe 15% margin this time because I want to keep the price for you. Because suddenly this new price increase, I'm not very sure. So what he does is that he kind of adapts to the situation. He will say, okay, I'll earn 20% less. No problem. I'll earn 5%, maybe 5% less or 2% less or whatever, so that I can keep my client base. But if it kind of continues to go, if the market continues to be like that for him, he needs to adjust. So he still needs to transfer that cost to the consumer, right? So that he can maintain that 20% profit margin. This is just the way it works. It's the same. Like right now, we are confident about a few projects only. NPXS, Quantum, right? We look at Huobi, right? BTC, Ethereum. And I tell you, the moment when you start identifying these kind of projects and you build your portfolio up, okay? And eventually, once they bear fruit, okay, it's not going to be a monthly thing, okay? Please, it is not a monthly thing. It is going to be a chance for you to accumulate these very powerful and strong projects. From then, once the bull market comes or a very strong momentum comes, these will be the projects that will benefit first. It's tested and proven. Why do you think I can confidently put in? It's not because I have someone who has high risk appetite. Maybe I do, but I'm not stupid, right? I invest as though I am buying up a company. Right now, there's no opportunity for us to really tap on the equity space for blockchain, because none of these projects are listed on NYSE or a Singapore Stock Exchange. Nothing, none of them. Right now, everyone is still testing out this space. So for now, with this kind of amount of uncertainty, you want to be able to look at it like an intelligent investor. Go and read books by Benjamin Graham, Warren Buffett. Okay, they are the ones that kind of will allow you to kind of get a feel. You can't really use the full way of assessing a stock like a crypto company. You cannot, but we can form our own. So the other book, which is something that Brian has been sharing, which is the crypto assets book, right? That crypto assets book is kind of like a very nice way of having a few perimeters available for you to, Brian, if you can, maybe you would like to share the crypto assets book link so that they kind of know how the cover looks like. Go and get that book, right? Especially if you're really serious. Go and read that book, speed read that book from the contents page, and then narrow it down. And then you look through what helps you to make sense of this space. Then you are able to zero in. Because guys, my role is not to manage your money. My role is to educate you to manage your own money. At the same time, you be a fund manager yourself. You be smart. Because if you join CG, right, I want you to know when you have a conversation with an individual who's interested in this space, you are educated, you are eloquent, you are familiar, right? You don't listen to what Superman is saying. You don't go and talk about what's his name? Who else is Schiller? Anyway, I think at the end of the day, Ian Balina, right? All these people, right, are marketers. They are nowhere near the level of financial professionalism as CG is. So you want to learn how to invest smart? This is the space. This is how you start making conversations with people, right? You talk about what drives the whole blockchain space. That's how you look at it, okay? And then from then you kind of pick all these companies. So we already picked a centralized exchange that has a strong base, has a very strong history, Huobi. Could it be Binance? Binance is speculative, but at the end of the day, they have some issues because now they're functioning out of Malta. Nothing wrong to function out of Malta. It's just that would you prefer a company that is more transparent and compliant, or you want a rogue company? Which one do you want? Your choice also, right? Now, the next thing is smart contract protocols. Sure. Ethereum, way overhyped. Okay? Honestly, I think they think too highly of themselves. Honestly, I think Vitalik has really think too highly of himself. He really needs to start looking at the grassroots efforts. Because right now, he doesn't do much grassroots efforts. He still shields Ethereum, but it's not the way that Quantum has been doing it. You see? So right now, look at where cryptocurrencies are the most undervalued, but they're doing so much more work, but their price point is like shit. Okay? So you compare Ethereum and you compare Quantum. Where is it at? And then you look at the price point. Hey, if this amount of nodes, if Ethereum has, say, 30,000 nodes, Quantum is 6,500 nodes. All right? And in terms of development and progress, you look at what is going to happen when the x86 releases. You don't want to invest now, it's fine. Wait until the x86 appears, start seeing whether the developers are building on it, what kind of dApps are coming out from Quantum, and whether those dApps are actually seriously mobile friendly. That's how you observe. It's really just the way it is. As long as people can start to use and people can see, oh, there's some kind of UI, UX, and it functions well, it's safe, secure, it does what it's supposed to do, it will sell. Simple as that. Okay? So what kind of marketing efforts also? Observe those. Marketing is very straightforward, guys, whether it appeals to you or not. So it's more of go and get this kind of stuff, right? But no one is teaching about the how. So these are the things that we want to look out for, okay? So these are the key points that I want to highlight. Okay, it's very straightforward, very, very simple. So what we want to do is, right now, what should you be focusing on? You have already bought whatever you needed to buy. If you have too many coins, I need you to streamline it down to 5, no more than 7. Okay, down to 5 if you can, No more than 7. Because I know that some of you have still more than 10 coins, over 10 coins. Honestly, use what I mentioned today in this video. If you need to watch this video again, it will be available in the link later for those who missed it. Watch it at 1.5 times or 2 times faster. Listen to what I just said. Clean up your portfolio, narrow it down to 5. The most I can accept is 7 coins. Okay? And then in terms of right now, where do you need to be? I need you to make sure that you have at least 30 to 40% allocation in BTC, all right? And start piling up on the altcoins that are recommended by CG, okay? And if you feel that you would like to look outside of the CG recommendation, use the perimeters that I just highlighted. If that project fulfills what I just mentioned, feel free to add that into your portfolio or your selection. Whether is it centralized, whether is it decentralized, it really does not matter. It ultimately, what matters is that what the market is pricing it at the moment. You see, EOS is now doing very well for some reason, okay? Because there's so much backing. So the market kind of can sense that, and the price is kind of showing, but ultimately they will be judged as well, whether they really can deliver. Okay, recently I think they got hacked, right? They got compromised. So that means security-wise, they are not there. So there are a lot of things, a lot of factors. Okay, so let's just look at projects from a very gradual price point, from a very gradual stage. Okay, infancy stage. We take it as all as infancy. And in terms of the amount of allocation, now you must be thinking, okay, Ryan, I've got this money. How much do I put? So as I say, you look at each project with a very speculative, skeptical eye. 10%, no more than 15%. As you become more confident about the project, you can go higher, 20, 30% even allocation. But you must be damn confident and not let someone else tell you about whether or not this project is fucking good. You get what I'm saying? You are the one that manages your own funds. You are your own fund manager. And how often you grow your wealth is how much you're willing to contribute. Now, there are some people who are still stuck, meaning that they only have this amount of money. They don't have enough yet. Okay, now this segment is the part where I need you to understand one thing. If you're only banking on this amount, if you're someone who is already okay, it's just that, Ryan, I'm only going to dedicate this amount this year, sure, sit on it. There's nothing that we can do at the moment. But if you feel that right now the price of BTC has already corrected, right, to a price that you are comfortable to add more, I strongly encourage you to add more BTC, because right now we want to add more BTC because we perceive that in the future, as we are closing in on the halving, which is obviously a lesser reward, you want to have more Satoshi. Okay, you want to have more Satoshi. So whenever there are dips like this currently, please go and buy. Right? Don't wait until like everyone's waiting for each other, and then when everything, the market is starting to get all hot, and then the Google trends are starting to trend onwards, you start buying, I think you are buying at a premium. That's being dumb. That's not a smart investor. You buy when people are selling. Because right now, because if you haven't committed that much, put in more. This market is not going anywhere. If this market was going anywhere, why the heck would why would there be summits discussing blockchain? Why would there be regulations around cryptocurrency trading? Why would there be taxation for its investors, traders, taxing investors or traders on cryptocurrency? Why? Why do you give a shit? Because it's important. It's revenue generating. When it's revenue generating, means that you have to pay attention to it. These are the signs. It's no different from, for example, maybe those who are more familiar with property. Let's talk about the US, okay? Manhattan being the most prime city, the jewel in America at the moment, especially in New York. But people are now looking at Brooklyn, right? Because Brooklyn, although used to be kind of perceived as, I'm not going to be staying there. But as the neighborhood starts to progress, as the years go by, and Manhattan space is getting more and more expensive, am I right to say that the people have started to shift out? Developers especially developers, we're talking about property developers now, who want to develop in Manhattan property, find that the land is so fucking expensive, right? To bid for it is already going to cost an arm and a leg. Why don't I move out to the surrounding vicinities or the surrounding precincts or areas or districts and develop there? Same thing. It's the same shit. But in the crypto market, everything is new. Everything is new. Everything is possible. So just have to look at the ones that are going to make the most sense and that have the best teams and are at the same time having the best connections and funding, and they are able to manage their money well. You can tell, guys. You can tell. All right? Invest in those. It's the same shit. You will do very, very well in life. Okay? So without further ado, let's go and start taking some questions. It will be a little bit short out, but I would say that let's cover more on the fundamental aspects of your portfolio rather than the technical analysis. Because technical analysis we can probably cover when we do setup. You know what I mean? But let's focus on the actual aspects right now. What do we need to do? All right, let's have some questions, please.
There was a question on legacy, about portfolio.
Okay.
Scroll up, Ramiro.
Okay. Ramiro has a question. Okay. Portfolio allocation going forward, BTC, HT, MPXS, all USD to accommodate to current market situation. Right. Okay. BTC. Okay. So for this question, okay, general wise, BTC is still 30% to 40%. We still want to add more. Right now, in fact, I would rather have more BTC as much as possible. If you can keep piling up until your BTC is 40%, it'll be nice. Okay. HT, 20%, man. 20% HT. NPXS, 10 to 15 still. 10 to 15, okay? Because right now they are in the deployment phase. They have a lot of things up their sleeve, okay? NPXS has a lot of things up their sleeve, but they're being cock blocked by their own token swap, okay? Right? And also, for example, Coinbase, the exchanges that they're on, like shit. So 10 to 15%, but don't lose sight of them. Other alts, okay? Now USD amount, I'm going to switch this strategy. USD amount is going to be for you to, your USD amount or your fiat amount, fiat, euros, Canadian dollars, whatever your fiat, is used to make sure your allocations are stacked properly. Okay? The USD amount is for you to just buy and make sure that your allocations are fulfilled. So as I mentioned, 30 up to 40% BTC, HT can go as high as 20%, MPXS 10 to 15, then the rest you cover. Whatever the balance, 20%, 15% or whatever, is the altcoins that are speculative. Okay, speculative. All right, so if it's three coins fulfill 15%, that means 5% per coin, something like that. You don't have to go too much because that's not the point. The point is for you to make sure that you use those high spec coins that have a lot of hype, right? And you get it wrong, you're not going to get hurt. But if you get it right, the upside is high. That's how you look at it. Then after that, you allocate those profits to the coins or to build up your allocation to the coins that are already fundamentally sound. That is how it works, right? Every fund manager, hedge fund manager works this way. Okay. The beauty of you managing your own fund is that you don't have to pay yourself any kind of management fees. No one's going to take away any kind of profit from you, right? No one's going to have a profit sharing model. You get all the profit. You don't have to pay us any management fee. Your only thing that you're paying for is the monthly that you join CG. That's all. See, that's the beauty. If you were to have your portfolio managed by a hedge fund manager, let's assume that you were of that high net worth, 2% annual management fee, and then followed by a high watermark profit sharing model, which is usually 80-20. You keep 80, then after that, 20% goes to the hedge fund. That's how it works. The thing is now you're saving all that, right? And you are managing yourself. Now, of course, naturally, some people can do it, some people can't do it. So right now, it's more of my focus is to make sure that you are educated. Ultimately, whether or not you decide to look for a hedge fund manager to manage your funds or fund manager or privately run fund, go ahead, right? It's just your choice. But yes, that is the allocation. Thoughts on Square entering crypto and pushing out Pundi? Jack Dorsey, founder, sees the vision of Bitcoin and will sooner or later move into the space. Their network effect is strong and Pundi is building their network now. Okay, with regards to Square moving into the space, this market is too big. PundiX has their own supporters and allocation. Square may be coming in, but can they penetrate the whole world? I doubt so. You see, because it's always ultimately it's just a matter of appeal. So PundiX will have its share. It's just like saying that just because Ethereum came out first doesn't mean that okay. Or let's say no, sorry, that's a wrong analogy. Let's say Amazon. Amazon came up with their own fucking open source blockchain. Are they going to comb the world? I use Amazon sometimes. Doesn't mean that I use Amazon all the time. I use I buy stuff on Redmart. I buy stuff on Q10. I don't always buy on Amazon. In fact, I'm not a very big Amazon user. All right. So, for example, Uber was pretty popular, in certain parts. But Uber right now has been got bought up by Grab. You see, so there are a lot of things that you think that is going to threaten the existence of another project, but it all boils down to how they built their business, right? Which is how I was covering about success. You see, it doesn't mean that just because there's a bigger boy that's coming into the space that is going to follow the concept, it doesn't mean that they're going to own it, right? Because those bigger boys may not have the tech or the knowledge to execute. They may have the database, they may have the skill sets, but it doesn't mean that they're going to comb the whole world. Doesn't mean that. Okay, MK has, how much fiat should we keep now? Nasonata, actually, when you say keep, I wouldn't say that that's the right word to use. I would say you want to use it, right? You don't have to keep fiat at the side. You are having an amount of money that's coming in every month. You want to dedicate that money into this space. Simple as that. It's not, right now, I don't expect anyone to cash out from their crypto portfolio. Zero. I have not made that call. Okay, I've not made that call. Right now, you want to basically accumulate. So whenever you make money from your various sources of income, right, you throw it back into the crypto space. You build up until you use the crypto market to generate a nice income for you or a nice return for you. After that pot of gold, you use it for another asset. That's how it's going to be. Okay, that is very, very high level, but let's focus on the crypto assets first. All right. Later, when you are long enough, when I notice that you are having that kind of 6-7 figures, then we come and talk about other assets. Let's focus on building this crypto portfolio first. Okay. According to Pundi's last minute, is this a question or is a comment?
Question.
Okay, so this would put the market cap at 560 million. Do you think the market cap is too high? Is that true? Based on the circulating supply and the current market cap is at 560 million. Is it really that high? Okay, look, Eric, I can't really answer this question yet, okay, because right now the swap is not completed. There are a few factors, but 560 million seems a bit high. But you know what? PundiX is, if it's going to be the payment channel, is going to be $1 billion market cap is not unreasonable as well. 1 to 2 billion even for payment channel. But if they're very focused on only Indonesia, then we may have a little bit of an issue. But then again, Indonesia is a very rich and very huge country. So maybe 1B to 2B is not unreasonable. But we must ask ourselves, what is the actual adoption rate? But it's a good question. Okay. Guys, any concerns you have, please, now is the time to ask. All right. If there's not much concerns about your portfolio, it was relatively clear, then we can another 5-10 minutes more, then we can end the stream, because I think it's pretty late for people, especially in the States, and also wee hours of the morning, especially people in Europe. So let's try to wrap it up. With regards to setups on what to buy, what price to buy BTC, what price to buy Ethereum, we will be giving the technical setups later in CG setups. It's very straightforward, guys. Just focus on BTC, Ethereum. You want to get Huobi, you want to get Van and all that, we will update the signals. Sure, we can buy. Okay, sure, we can buy. Right now, if you ask me, straightforward, you can market buy. Really, market buy. Simple. Whatever crypto that we have always had, market buy. Simple as that. Yeah. Asking cost, that would be the higher than 1. Okay. Eric, let's just put it this way. MPXS, okay, or PundiX is a very, very successful project as of now. The whole world knows about PundiX right now because it's it's one of the very first off-chain POS systems. I'm not saying that there are no other POS systems. I'm sure there are other people that created POS systems for crypto earlier than PundiX. But because of the success that they have been getting, the way that they were marketing themselves consistently and really putting their product out there and demonstrating it, right? And how people can see it. People who are business people who see that like that, right? It's like, wow, shit, you are the one that's going to help me get my usability. Not functionality, but my use base or use case for my token. Now, whether good or bad, it's up to PundiX to kind of do the vetting. But it's all, the vision is there, guys. The vision is there. It's all about just getting the deployment right and turning on the switch. Market buy Huobi now. Sure, you can market buy Huobi now. But the thing is, they rose up a little bit too much. Wait a little bit more. If you're someone who does not have any Huobi or you sold the majority of your Huobi, buying back now is fantastic. I mean, we all sold at about 80,000 satoshis, right? We sold, right? And in terms of price point, I think some sold at 550 and above. We're all happy. We made money on Huobi, guys. Then just the day where we covered the event, we mentioned to you guys better to sell already. And true enough, the market tanked. With this shit happening today with the market, you are ready to buy back. You have either a fresh amount of BTC, a fresh amount of USD Tether, or a fresh amount of cash ready to get back in. Okay, now for Huobi, right? Being that they are now having a longer requirement for their roadmap. Their roadmap is now more broad-based. Take it slow, guys. When something becomes very broad-based, right? End up there's a lot of angles that they need to hit. Take it slow. When I say market buy, it doesn't mean that you go all in with your 20% allocation. No. What I mean is that if your intention is to have 20% allocation, you can go in at 2%, 3% at a time. 2%, 3% at a time. Okay? Then after that, what happens is that when you go in 2%, 3% at a time, you will be able to fill up your allocation to 20%. That's how you approach this space right now. Okay? Chill out. Gradually build your portfolio. Should we let go of some quantum at a loss and go into HT, faster upside in short term to get the liquidity and set growth? Okay, you are now talking about two different things. The thing is whether or not will Huobi recover. See, it's a risk, right? You cut loss on quantum at a loss, and then you go into Huobi. No one can guarantee. I will not answer that question because I love both. I will not do that. But if you want to do that, you can do that.
Let me cover some stuff.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. There's a question that Cardano, OneChain, and Icon are popular smart contract platforms. Are they vaporware compared to Quantum?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Screen share.
Yeah, let me stop sharing first.
Mute.
Yeah, I need to.
Okay. So I'm not gonna cover full TA. I did prepare some charts, but wait, let me just test. Okay, testing. Okay, so I'm just gonna cover a few things quickly. And just to let you all know. So I found this thing particularly funny. Anyway, bro, you should see this. It's very funny. Okay, so I found this yesterday. So it says why every investor should print out this chart and hang on their wall. Okay, those who just do TA, right, and you know oversold, right? This was oversold, but the chart carry on dropping. Okay, so please, RSI alone is not telltale sign of everything. Okay, and then this was Nasdaq, right? Overbought, it still went up. Okay. And then in crypto they say, oh, it can't go to zero, but Lehman Brothers did. Okay, so anything can happen, guys. Okay, so I thought this was kind of cute. This one was damn funny. I love this. I was laughing out loud. Okay, anyway, so BTC and F, don't need to talk too much. I think Ryan made a great point about buying it now. You look at how oversold it is. Volume is kind of picking up. This is on daily, by the way. So yeah, so and to be really honest, the news of Coinbase being hacked and the four exchanges being probed, they are not very, very big news. And so I don't really understand the dip, honestly. Okay, so I'm trying to understand what factors actually caused it. Ethereum, on the other hand, you could see two very nice reversal candle. Yeah, so these are telltale sign of stoppage, meaning to say so you could see it how it built up, right? Stoppage meaning to say the trend will reverse most likely on Ethereum, okay, faster than as compared to BTC, right? BTC you see also the reversal candle hanging. This is a hammerhead, and also you see a doji here. So people are uncertain of where to go, but Ethereum will see recovery very, very soon. You could see volume picking up as well on 4 hours. Okay, so I'm just trying to tell you guys. Litecoin on the other hand, boom. I have no idea why, honestly. Litecoin just boomed slightly. And this is very, very strange because when BTC do correct, Litecoin should more or less correct as well. So I don't think this is normal. I don't think there's any news coming from Litecoin as well. Charlie is not that kind of guy who knows how to tweet. He's not a sharer himself. And whenever he tweets, Litecoin drop even more. So I know he kind of abstained from it now. So this is kind of unexplainable. All right, a bit hard to catch this anyway. But honestly, what I'm really, really hopeful about are these three odds next. And I've been talking about them for the longest period of time. I've been talking about VenChain. And if you have got in, at 475 areas, you are always good. Why? Because mainnet is launching in about 20 days or so. So the next 10 to 15 days will have quite a fair bit of upside. And then it's time to get out. Okay. Unless you want to become a masternode, you need whole 10,000 VAN. Okay. Ontology also went up to an all-time high at about this level at 1.1 plus and so on and so forth. But it has now dipped. So Ontology, I feel, has a good upside also as compared to VAN. But of course, the price of Ontology per token is twice of that amount of VAN. So for every Ontology that you own, for every token, for every Ontology you own, you can actually own 2 VenChain token, 2 VAN. All right. So it's kind of like pros and cons, kind of weighing that you need to do. But I'm really looking forward to how ONT plays out as well. Mainnet is launching at the end of the month. And I was looking at the CMC, which is the coin market cap. I realized VAN has actually dipped to about rank 16. Ontology has moved up to the rank 20, doing very, very good, honestly. Zelica, which is the next one I'm talking about, is at rank 26. So they are kind of moving up as well. Of course, Ontology has to beat the big boss Quantum, so we'll see whether it can do that. But Ontology always have great volume. You can see if I zoom out on 4 hours, you can see the volume is strong. So goes for VAN, always strong. Not as strong as Ontology. So all in all I can say it's you can see the candles are performing very well. There's like 3 reversal candles, same as VAN. When I zoom in, you can see the reversal candle playing along. Very good telltale sign of how it will bounce back very fast. Okay. I'm just saying, all right. So that's why I've been saying the same few odds. It's not because I'm pro them or I'm a sharer, but it's just that chart wise, technical wise, fundamental wise, it's solid. Okay, so even if you just go 5% on each, you more or less be okay. Zelica as well. Of course, Zelica don't have much news except for testnet coming in June. It's hitting oversold. Volume is dipping, things like that. But Zelica has a lot of backers. All right, even if you were to hold it for the next 1 or 2 months or 3 months, you are still okay. The co-founder, the professor, which I forgot his name suddenly, but he's the professor of Loy Lu from Kyber Network, which is the founder, right? So the professor himself is actually based in NUS, which is National University of Singapore, and he's one of the he's one of the advisors plus the co-founder himself being in a project, and it has a lot of backings. Okay, so if they can deliver the fast TPS smart contract platform like they promised, this can be wise to look at. Okay, so quantum wise, he actually broke down of a long-term trend. Honestly, volume is not very nice, but like I say, this bounces could happen whenever quantum deep just tremendously. Okay. The other question that I think one of you had was, how does ICX, ADA, Cardano, or Quantum, how do they phase out? Now, the thing is, right, to me, my perspective is very simple, is that when you are viewing a blockchain or a smart contract platform that is linked to a certain country, for instance, Icon is linked to Korea, right? So there is one additional risk when it is the Ethereum of that particular country, for instance. So Icon, for instance, is always called the Ethereum of Korea. But then when Korea were to put bans on ICOs, were to put them or whatever on cryptocurrencies, therefore Icon's price will always get affected. Why? Because it has that geographical risk. Same thing goes for Ethereum, because it's the main smart contract platform in that sense. Whenever there's any ICO news, it bounds to get hit. So same logic. So anything that's China linked, for instance, maybe Quantum, Neo. Neo has a stronger linkage to the Chinese government as compared to Quantum. Quantum is kind of like a standalone, kind of like an Apple, where you don't know where it really stands, but it has group marketing all around. And right now they are really marketing themselves in Beijing and in China. I think I saw some of the admin talking about it in a Quantum's Telegram channel, and so they have really began their marketing in China. All right, so we'll see. Of course, it's also has certain linkage to the government, and to certain countries, lah. Okay, so other Cardano wise, on the other hand, is like a standalone, same as EOS, like a standalone project, like Ethereum, right? So honestly, the smart contract space is very crowded. Okay, but the question is, who can stand out? Who has something that has been developed already? What like I think Ryan has talked about it many times. Interoperability. How can coders? How does it make dApps easier to be developed on? How is developer viewing it? Is it easier for them to code? Right, and user friendliness, all these things place a huge factor on it. It's no longer especially in projects nowadays, it's no longer just about who are the team, and it's really about what is the consequence. Like if the team is strong but nothing is being produced, it's airware, it's still vaporware. All right. So that's what we are also looking at. Like if the team is strong, it doesn't really matter. It's whether the team really gets started and working on things. This is crucial. So ICX is still on a long-term downtrend, honestly. And we don't see it breaking up Kitchen Sink line. We don't see it breaking up the cloud yet. Strong partnerships, yes, but I say if Korea has not set up its regulation properly yet, ICX will not really fly yet. Okay, because it's geographical risk in that sense. When you are labeled as the smart contract of that particular country, it's actually not a good title, honestly.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I just want to share. I want to add with regards to smart contract protocols, right? I think if it's very country specific and it only appeals to one country, then we have to ask ourselves, in that particular country, how much talent is there? Okay, because yeah, you may say, oh, it's an international platform. Anybody and everybody can build on it. The question is, does everybody really want to always build on on a platform that is belonging to someone else? I mean, after all, guys, we are representing. I mean, look, if I have a Singapore platform, I may not necessarily want to build on a Singapore platform. I may actually want to build on a US platform. Okay, but if let's say, for example, there are people who are very pro, and the whole platform was built in a way that appeals to the developers in that country, or at least it can be just international. Then that is a very good platform. So we have to consider that as well. Also, another thing to consider. Sorry to cut Andy off. When you invest in cryptocurrencies, bear in mind that we run the risk that when a potential, okay, look, ultimately, any of these projects have a chance to be acquired, have a chance to be bought over. Okay, and when that happens, it may mean well for the company, but does not mean well for the token holders. So be very mindful, ladies and gentlemen. No one talks about this kind of stuff. Only CG talks about this kind of stuff, and it's important that you identify that, and you know that okay, although this is driving this area in the blockchain space, this particular project is making waves in this blockchain space, it just means that potentially it's doing all the right moves, it may or may not want to be acquired, but in most cases, if I'm someone who created the company and I'm successful, I tend to eventually may want to sell it off, capitalize on this, right? Capitalize on my success and move on to another project. But when that happens, it is up to the owners of the founder, all right, to want to kind of give back to the community in some way. Okay, either he gets paid and he wants to buy back his tokens or whatever. No one knows. No one knows. So please be very mindful that you want to always have these regular periods in your portfolio that you do cash out into cash and build other assets. Okay, crypto is not the one all, see all, do all financial asset. There are other aspects that we can work on. All right. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, just want to talk about a bit about Huobi. So Huobi is actually currently ranked at 58, right? I think a few months or a few weeks ago, I saw it about rank 80, I think. So let's move on. And the thing is about Huobi, right, is that you could see how well it tanked the market. The volume is dipping, RSI is also dropping, and I think one of the reasons why is because Huobi has no much news to really power it a lot, right? Being an exchange token, and exchange, to be honest, exchange tokens it's a very competitive space. You could see exchanges fighting with each other in terms of volume, in terms of listing. There's a lot of things, right? B2C, B2B, and there's a lot of things to talk about. So which exchange tokens should you exactly be holding? That we leave you all to decide, all right? But it's always nice to kind of diversify into a certain exchange token. Now, in terms of pricing wise, I'm really looking forward towards the 664 to about 65 region. Honestly, that blue line is based on the resistance build up here. There was a resistance, now it forms a support. Ichimoku is also saying that this is a very, very nice zone. I mean, I would sell my buttock here in a sense. Okay, 0.618 FIPS is a bit hard. 632 is a bit hard to get to. I don't want to eat my own words later, so I don't want to say so much, but this is a very strong zone corresponding from both FIPS. So the 63317, 632 will be a strong zone. But I really, really would like, to see HT dropping here. At this zone. Now, the other way to kind of gauge where it will stop at is to base it on HT US dollar tether. I kind of analyze the price pattern, and I realized that most of it is coming from tether, right? The volume. I think I told some of you that the volume is coming in from tether side for HT. And so what you can do is really look at order books. Now, this order books wise, it can be quite deceiving. Why? Because I could always put a fake order or fake buy or fake sell order and I take it out, right? So it kind of deceives people. But a good gauge, right, is look at top 20 or top 20 and sell, buy 20 and sell 20. And then just look at the volume, the ultimate accumulative volume here, right? So there's actually more sell at top sell 20 at 15,400 as compared to the buy at 11,000. So it keeps changing here and there, but you could see that the order books for either the sell or the buy wall, it's kind of being eaten up by either way. So with that being said, right, looking at the top buy 20 or like a buy 30, you kind of know that this is the kind of price range that we will be looking at. Okay, $4.64, things like that. Of course, take note, order books can be manipulated as well. You want to see some of the big orders. People are buying in 47,000 HT. Come on, 89. People are selling it with 89,000 HT. That's like 100 to 200,000. I don't know. I don't want to calculate now. Cannot work my brain. So anyway, this is how you can actually gauge it. So in order to know, so let's say it's for, let's say we look at the buy 88 or whatever, $4.58. So how do you gauge the price? Just go in here and then just key maybe 65, 66, okay, maybe not 67, 8. Yeah, so this is like the rough price that equivalent to USD Tether, which is 4.58, will be where the price would agree at. So this is a kind of like a way to gauge the price. It's not very accurate, but at least you get to see where the order book's coming from, where the big sell and buy orders are coming from, right? So this is actually a good way to kind of gauge it. All right. So honestly, HT, this region, all good, really. 6.5 range to Ichimoku of 6.4, 6.4 range. This is good levels. Okay. And I think it may just hit there based on this reversal candle on 4 hours. I think it's good. Right. That's all from my side.
Okay. Okay, so guys, we have already extended to about 1.5 hours. Thank you so much for attending this live webinar on the 11th of June. We'll be looking forward to seeing you next week. And of course, naturally, if there's any updates along the way, we will be able to cover those, of course, in the Discord chat, right? So yes, have a very, very good June, especially those who are on holiday. Enjoy your holiday. Come back fresh in the month of July. But of course, along the way, if there's dips that are worth picking up, good stuff, please pick it up. All right, guys, take care and see you all in the next webinar.
Yep. Thanks, guys.